Hey guys, the other day someone in my course asked me, what do I think the most important chapters are for the Builder's Guide to Accounting? And I wanted to go over them in this video of what I think the most important chapters are. If I had to choose chapters to focus on, to study on for the test, these would be the chapters here. So first chapter is going to be chapter 1. So chapter 1 reviews everything that you see in the book. It goes over what you're going to see in the Builder's Guide to Accounting. This is what you should know. So it's a pretty important chapter. Then I would do chapter 2. Why? Because it goes over the percentage of completion. If you don't know what the percentage of completion is, I highly recommend to read as much as you can in the Builder's Guide to Accounting. If you have any questions about it, you can text this number here, and I do go over it in my course, giving you guys explanations, giving you guys examples, and then you have practice quizzes you can practice with for percentage of completion. The next chapter would be chapter 4. It goes over managing receivables in 10 days net 30. In chapter 5, it goes over 5 important bad debt ratios. If you guys don't know those bad debt ratios, read about them in Builder's Guide to Accounting. And once again, I go over them in my course. And if you have any questions, you can text that number there. If you guys want to join the course now, link is down below. Next chapter will be chapter 10. It has over 3 things that could be on the test regarding inventory and materials. If I had to choose the most important chapter in this book, I would say chapter 10, in my opinion. I recommend just to read over chapter 10, and I go over chapter 10 in the course as well very seriously because I know how important chapter 10 is. The next chapter will be chapter 11. I wanted to throw chapter 11 in here because it goes over tax forms, and you're guaranteed to pretty much get tax form questions on the quiz. The thing is, I prefer to go to the contractor's manual instead of going to the Builder's Guide to Accounting, because I feel like in the contractor manual, it's easier to find. You could find in the index where the forms are exactly. That's why I just prefer contractor's manual over the Builder's Guide to Accounting when it comes to forms. Next chapter is going to be chapter 12. It goes over variable and fixed overhead expenses. And then the next chapter is going to be chapter 13. It goes over straight line depreciation. Super important straight line depreciation. If you don't know how to do straight line depreciation, you have to learn how to do it. I go over it in my course if you guys are interested in joining. And then MACRS rules. It's very important. They go over MACRS rules in the contractor manual. This is something I mentioned in my videos. I prefer to go to the Builder's Guide to Accounting for MACRS rules, as it explains it simpler than it does in the contractor's manual. That's why I put this in there, but they're in both books. MACRS rules is in the contractor's manual and Builder's Guide to Accounting. Chapter 14 is the next chapter, and that goes over the break-even point. You have to know how to calculate the break-even point. That is very important for the test. They don't really explain it very well in chapter 14. You have to learn it on your own, and I go over it in the course as well. And then the last chapter is going to be chapter 22. It goes over all the financial statements. That is a super important chapter. It explains the financial statements. It explains how to make entries into financial statements as well. So super important. And me making this list here, I'll put it down below if you guys want to download it. I want to say, just because I'm saying these are the most important chapters, I'm not saying the rest are not important. I'm not saying that you shouldn't study the rest. You should study the whole entire book and go over the whole entire book, because once again, they can ask anything that is inside the book on the test. So I hope you guys liked today's video. I hope this helps you guys to study. And if you guys are interested in joining the course, you can text this number or click the link down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.